Hello campers, Dr. Dickey here. Okay, so you know that I took all the cells and I capacity tested them, and then I sorted them all out by capacity. The highest was 2.8 amp hours, which I think is BS. I think it was more like 2.7 something, but it doesn't matter. For sorting purposes, that works. And I sorted them all out, and I showed you them all sorted out into those bins on capacity. So the next step was to sort them, starting with the highest capacity, working towards the lowest capacity. I sorted them out and numbered them 1 through 4,200. And I did that so I could use a program called Repack R that I'll show you if I can. I don't know if it'll come up on screen or not. And what that does is that takes all the numbered cells and their capacities and it arranges them into as many packs as you want with the size of the P, the number of cells in parallel in each pack. And it arranges them out so that the capacity of every pack is approximately the same. I've got all the cells sorted, starting with the highest capacity to the lowest capacity, numbered 1 through 4,200. So, to see one of those bins, that's one of the bins sorting cells from 801 to 900. Then what I do is I take them out of there and put them into this rack, and through the magic of editing, they are all sorted out, going from 800, 8, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then going back all 100 in there. And you're saying to yourself, okay, why did you bother to do that? Because I'm going to take them from there and I'm then going to put them into the packs. And as you can see, I'm starting to fill up the packs. Let me pull back a little bit so you can see all the packs together. Okay, there are all 14 packs that I've begun to fill up. And there's a 15th pack up on top of the table too. So that's what I'm going through. Let me see if I can show you what our packer shows me and then how I end up sorting them. I just sort them using first, 100, then 200, then 300, then 400, then 500, 600, all the way up to 2,400. Well, that's what our pack shows, and you can't see it. I don't think there's any way I can get a good, this camera's just not good enough to show you, but basically what it does is it's giving me a list of all the cell numbers, and it shows me which numbers go in which packs, and so I sort them from here down into the packs. The time has come to put the packs together. I've got all the cells put in them, but I don't have them all made up, and that's what I'm going to do now. So first step is to get the labels on top of all the protective seal on top of all the cells. So these are, they call this a barley ring, so I don't know whether it's really made out of barley or that's just a name that they've given it. I don't know. I guess I should look into that and figure that out. But some of these don't have the rings on them because when these came in those rubberized medical packs, I had to take a toothpick and try and dig some of the rubber that was gotten down into the vents on the top of this. And usually that was because of the way the ring was on there. It allowed it to get in on one side and not on another. So some of them I pulled the rings off of them. Some of them they didn't have any rubber inside there, and some of them I could pick it out without getting the ring off. So some have had their rings taken off, some have not. But before I put it together, I want to put the rings back on all of them, and then I'll show you the spacers that I'm going to use. I believe I'm going to use. If they work, I will use them. Let me just get this done. Okay, here are the pieces for the end spacers. Now, what I've done is I've taken these groups of 4x5 and I've cut them in half and then put two together so that it goes on each end. And the way these work, I don't know if you can see this, but there's tabs in there that block the cells from going all the way through. And so I've made up these wooden dowels that are exactly 3 3/8 in length, and I've sanded down the ends so that they fit through the cells when I break the tabs out. If I break the tabs out, they'll fit through there. The reason you have to sand them down is when Panasonic made these cells, they didn't make them 3/4 of an inch. They made them, well, what are they? They're 18/650, so it's 18 millimeters diameter, and instead of a 3/4 inch. So the 3/4 inch rods are just a little bit too big. You got to sand them down a bit, break those tabs out, and I'll show you how that works now. So I put one of these on the bottom end. Yeah. And its complement on the top piece. I'll show you how they just slide together and lock up. Okay, and then on this end, what I can do is put these two pegs here. And on this end I do the same thing. On there, which in this case goes up like this and then down. So let me just put that on. I'll take it off. It's just easier to slide it on if I slide it off the end of it. The end of the table. Like that, and then I can just pop it down in there. And then I put it on the end on the top. Then comes the biggest challenge, getting this thing to go seat down on top of all of the cells, and I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this. Let me pull back and see if I can get you where you can see this. So if I hang this over the edge of the table, I can get these to go down enough. Hang this edge over the end of the table, I can get these to go down enough. And I have to just kind of work all the cells to pop up through here. The problem is this flexes. And so if it flexes away, it doesn't go. But that went that went really well, better than normal. Like this. And then remember, my packs have handedness to them, and I'll explain why that is. So the last pack had it negative side in the front, say this in the front, and this and has the positive side in the back. So I want the positive side on this one in the front, the negative side on this one in the back. And let me just get it initially zip tied. You put these together with zip ties. There's holes put through. So I go through like this, and put it around that and then back. Let me just make sure the pack won't pull apart, and then I'll explain a little bit more. Let you see a little bit more. So one on the top, one on the bottom. see that. So I'll try and do this one on this side so you can see. So basically, there's holes put through here. So it goes through here, comes around this side, and then goes back through. And with all the cells in there, these are generally easy to feed through. I thought that might be a problem, but it wasn't. And then I'm not going to tighten these up really tight yet until I adjust where this is front to back. All right, and then one through here. Of course, I put that in backwards as usual. It just happens so often when you're dealing with zip ties. So why is there a handedness to these packs? Well, the reason for that is the way I learned wiring of any sort was you always want to make your runs equal. Well, if I put the negative side with the feed out from it here, and I put the positive side with the feed out coming up here, it would make it a lot easier. All the packs would go the same way and they'd all hook together. The problem with that was the length of run for the electrons to flow from down here to here, and on the other side it would be the same distance. These cells would have a much shorter run to go out because they would be hooked right here and the feed out would be like that. Whereas if I do it where the feed on one end is at one end and the feed on the other end is at the other end, then it's pulling from here and it's pulling from here, and they both have about the same run, and so the cell should discharge fairly equally or much more equally. Okay, that makes sense. So let me finish packing this one up and then I'll show you, you can see how these spacers will kind of work, and that the packs will sit next to each other and these will keep them from touching, even though there's no reason why they can't touch, because I'm going to end up hooking this bus bar here to the positive side of the next pack that sits next to it. So even if it touched somewhere, it wouldn't have a short or anything like that, because they're going to be electrically equal. The problem is I don't want them touching down here, because that would be another distribution point for the current to flow, and I want them all flowing out of these. That's just the way I want it to be done. All right, let me finish packing this one up and then getting it locked down. Please. Extra pieces. Not quite done zipping it up yet. Got to do two in the center, or close to the center. Actually in the center. All right. And then these are not drilled out. Make sure I know which one's which. this one right here. So I can just bust out what's in there. Some of them, because of the way I switched the tops, they were drilled out on other ends, so you can just pop those things, those pieces out. Fortunately. So when welding cells, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be welding a wire from here to here. Going across here, 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 and I'll solder it to the bus bar, but weld it to the tops of all the negative batteries. And same thing down here. That is going to be a lot of work. Not looking forward to it, but it shouldn't be too terribly bad. Just kind of long and boring, so I won't show you all of it. I'll just show you some of it, and then I'll show you when it's done. And then, of course, this is the negative side. On the positive side, I will be welding in 2 amp fuses, which typically blow around 4 amps. And I would never have 4 amps coming out of this setup, because 4 amps would be 4 amps per cell would be 4 times 160. So you can imagine what that's going to be. And that's going to be what, for 600 and some amps? Yeah, there's no way in the world. But that's not what you do it for, because you don't expect to ever pull a draw like that. The problem would be if one cell shorted and all the other cells were drawing, it was drawing from all the rest of the cells in the pack, it would probably draw more than just 4 amps, and therefore would blow that fuse and preserve the rest of the pack. Okay, so that's done, and then I'll put it over here with the rest. Hang on and I'll show you. My wife has some of her laundry up here to dry. So that's the next pack, and there's just one more pack to make. And then the welding.